Ooh. On the high end, I've been at long meditation retreats and looked at flowers and started crying.
Yeah. Seeing them through the eyes of Source.
Right. And I would say that I live mostly around life is okay, life is pretty good. I have some sense of a map going up to that stage, from all the way dark to life is pretty good. I have a fairly good map about how to get up and down inside there. I have less of a map about how to get from pretty good to really great, to really fully loving, fully present. And I'm wondering if you can help me out some.
The only thing that prevents is too strong of a word, but hinders momentum from feeling pretty good to feeling really, really, really good. That faster momentum. The only thing that hinders that is introduction of contradictory thoughts. That's what resistance is. So the key to parlaying that good feeling of alignment into something that is more is simpler than you think and not what you think. It's about not introducing resistant thoughts. And the reason that most people do introduce resistant thoughts is because they often think of their meditation process as the process in which they will solve problems or find answers. And the thing that's most important for you to remember about that is that the vibration of a question and the vibration of an answer are different frequencies. So when you get yourself into that good feeling place where you can feel the energy moving upward and upward, you want to milk that upward moving energy by keeping it going. It's sort of like what just happened here. Just keep it going. Just keep it going until the stage will not hold anymore. There are some limitations in your physical world. That's why we hang out in the non-physical realm. It's unlimited. But when you introduce resistance, that's the only thing that prevents the momentum from getting more. Now, we love saying this to all of you. You have to work your way into an ability, it's an art, of sustaining higher and higher frequencies and faster momentum. In other words, you can't just jump right into it. It will be unpleasant for you. And so the meditation process and the allowing of the energies to raise process is really a wonderful beginning. But we would far rather see you in states of appreciation than in states of meditation. Because in meditation, you're quieting thought, which is essential when your thoughts are out of control or when your thoughts are resistant laden. Are you following? But when your thoughts are not resistant laden, when your thoughts are pure thoughts, when your thoughts are without resistance, the natural law of attraction will bring your thoughts into more and more momentum, stronger and stronger momentum, higher and higher frequencies. But your capacity to sustain them is something that you are practicing and parlaying and getting better and better at. There are people who you know, even some people who you live with, who would not do well even in this environment today because it's moving a bit fast. In other words, you want to practice yourself into that frequency and sustain it. Make it your own. Become familiar with it. Own it. And then reach for more.
I have to say, I had a former girlfriend who when she went to groups like this said, "Sounds like hell to me." I mean, really, we're no longer together.
Well, if you're not up to speed with the frequency, or if you are attempting to lower your frequency unnaturally, that's why you want to let law of attraction do the work. That's why, as we were talking about the vortex, which contains everything that you want and all that you have become, and you want to find the frequency, just learn your way to it, feel your way to it, bit by bit by bit, until your frequency matches the frequency of that vortex, and then it just begins to naturally, impulsively, intuitionally be realized by you. So as you just take it easy, Don't try so hard to make things happen. This vibrational climate, for a while we were calling it the grid, but it felt too rigid because it's fluid. It's a climate. It's ever-changing, and you are a controller of it. But we were saying, don't try to fill that in yourself. Don't try to make things happen. Identify what you want and do your best to feel good, and watch the universe orchestrate the conditions by which it comes. And you stand not as the haphazard recipient, not as the unrelated recipient, but as the creator of what you are receiving, because you are creating the vibrational climate in which it can become. It's like the scientists with their petri dish. They're very picky about the neutrality of it. And then they introduce precisely what they mean to introduce. So while they are the creators of bacteria, you are the creators of your own reality.
Related, I sometimes think that your message is, don't think, be happy. And I'm wondering about the role of introspection, proper role of introspection. I know you can take it down a wrong path fairly easily.
What we encourage is get happy and then think. So what we really mean by that is think thoughts that are easily happy thoughts. Mm-hmm. But humans don't feel validated enough often in those simple thoughts. Seems like you should be curing diseases and stopping world hunger and saving each other from each other. This is a universe that's based on vibration. And we cannot talk about a vibrational universe without talking about thought. But here in this forum, we want to talk about deliberate thought. But we don't want to talk about deliberate thought without talking about emotional guidance. And we don't want to limit your thoughts. We're not trying to get you to not think about this or that, because thinking about this or that helps you to decide the this or that you really want to think about. This is what the evolution of all species is about. So yes, you want to be introspective. Yes, you want to think. But we want you to get on your high-flying disc and then think. We want you to get in this vibrational climate and then think. Have you played the game where you sit with thoughts that are clearly and easily comfortable to you? A thought that's just in the same way that you might bury your face in a fragrant rose. There's a lot of world out there beyond this, but right now, this is what you're focused upon, and this is what you're wanting to experience, and you're wanting to take it in with everything that you can, because you want this delicious moment in time. Do you know that experience? Do you ever put something in your mouth and you don't want to swallow it yet? You don't want it to be gone too soon. You want to savor it. You want to savor it. And so when you find those things, there might be a handful of them that stand out in your mind. It might have been a conversation with someone, or it might have been an exposure to something new. It might have been an experience when you were alone or with someone, but it stands out in your mind as an experience that you were savoring. You just savored it. Well, those are the beginning places of a perfect day. Starting there in those easy to find places. Esther feels that way about her treehouse, and she feels that way about her grandchildren. She feels that way about a handful of things, really that way about them. And she always starts there because it's easy. But humans say, well, I don't believe in starting with something easy. I think I will take the issue that is most significant to me, the thing that I'm most out of whack about, and that's what I'll think about in order to conquer it. I'll wrestle it to the ground and kill it. I will be the master of that. And we say, then you are denying yourself access to the energy that creates worlds. Then you are denying yourself the leverage that is available to you. Then you are denying yourself all of the cooperative components that are all around you, who are receiving impulses at perfect moments. Esther was making her list this morning, her spiral list. She's just really enjoying starting with the simple things and just letting the thoughts flow into her mind. And she can't tell the thoughts that she's thinking from the thoughts that we're thinking anymore. She can't tell. It doesn't matter. Where's the impulse of this magnificent thought coming from? As it's like, who cares who cooked the food as long as it tastes good, yes? Doesn't really matter where it came from as long as it is pleasing in this moment. So you are receiving so much thought from so many places, and when you have primed yourself to be the receiver of it, the joyful, never unfolding receiver of it. And so Esther was just enjoying how fast the thoughts were coming, just as fast as she could write them. She was just really enjoying writing a word and a word and another 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 word. And then she hesitated just for a moment, reaching for something, and a bird, 2 birds, flew onto her balcony and said, "Remember us, remember us." And she wrote, "Birds." And smiled, because as big as her list was, birds weren't on it yet. But the cooperative universe is always bringing you the next cue and the next cue and the next cue and the next cue. And the more you ponder from that central place of alignment, the more you engage the non-physical energy that is thinking those thoughts too in non-resistance. And that's where your inventions come from. That's where your new music comes from. That's where your new art comes from. That's where your new life comes from. That's where your new ideas come from. It's collaborative. It's co-creative. It's inspired. It's source inspired. It's trajectory inspired. It's you inspired, you say. Starting from the inside out. Could not have begun with a better question today. Feeling satisfied?
But just one small amplification. You may have just answered this, but if you're like right now, a lot of your teachings are little pockets, and they bump into me, and I think about them, and I try to incorporate them, but they're not. They don't have too much of a wholeness, and so I guess.
Well, that's odd, because we've only said one thing in a million different ways.
Yes.
So pick up any one piece of it and apply it. Any one piece of it. It doesn't matter, because the message is very, very brief. You are worthy beings who create your own reality through the thoughts that you think. And the way you feel is the indication of the value to you of the thought you are currently thinking. Care about how you feel. We've enjoyed this interaction immensely.
Feel free to say you just answered this. So
we just answered that.
Right.
That too.
That too. So if
and that.
Okay, well, at least get the question out, then you can say yes, that too. That too. So if you're already at a pretty good place, you're already feeling pretty good about life, what's the next step?
More. But you see, it's your capacity to perceive the moreness that this is all about. Oh, there's so much that is available. But the improvement of your perspective is what this is all about. You don't need to, any of you need to learn anything from us in order for all of this to continue to be magnificent. The expansion, the evolution, the joy, the well-being is in place, perpetually and eternally in place. But the satisfaction factor for you is determined by your ability to perceive it. And that's what we talk about all day, every day. That's that little piece we keep giving you. Another and another and another. Another way to look at that, another way to look at that, an inner way to look at that, the law-based way to look at that, the universal way to look at that, the unconditional way to look at that, the vibrationally practiced way to look at that. And for what? Why? Do we want you to be different? No, we like you just the way you are. Do we need you to tell someone else something? No. Everyone has a direct access to life and to guidance. So what's the point of all of this? What is the point of all of this? The point of all of this is that deliberate focus, feels so much better than indeliberate. Don't you love honing a skill? Esther bought the most magnificent machine. It's an Audi R8. And it is still, at this point, so much more than she understands. She takes it out on the highway and she says to it, show me who you are. Inspire me to the understanding of who you are. Just listening to the engine sets her biological rhythm in a whole new place because of the mastery of the mechanics, the precision of this vehicle. It seems to defy the laws of gravity and inertia. It doesn't really. There are limits. Tell Esther if you see her. There are limits. And she is fast approaching them. But the more familiar she becomes with her machine, the more pleasure she receives from her machine. Don't you feel that way about everything? Don't you love learning new? Don't you love your perspective expanding? Don't you adore being all that you are? Don't you want to tap in to that infinite intelligence that you have access to and then perceive something, even if it's a rose or a person or a meal or a concept or an equation or a possibility? Don't you want the fullness of who you are present now, present now, present now? So that's what this is all about. Humans have been pinching off their capacity to perceive the well-being because you kind of got over-involved in step one, over-involved in the asking of the question, and in a sort of unworthy stance, not ready to receive the answer. So you have to prepare yourself for your receiving. You have to ask questions and then chill out and then get answers and say, I got that. And then ask questions and then chill out and then receive answers and then say, got that too. And then ask questions and then chill out and receive answers and say, I'm getting this. And then ask questions and then chill out and then receive answers and then say, I'm good at this. And then ask questions and chill out and receive answers and acknowledge, I'm a genius at this. I'm a magnificent, deliberate creator. I'm worthy. And there is nothing that is outside of my ability to achieve it. Anything that I seek. Anything that I seek. If this time-space reality can inspire the desire within me, then this time-space reality has the full resources to fulfill my desire to the degree I've learned to perceive. That's why your most aligned moments are moments you're not talking so much, because you talk yourself into resistance without meaning to sometimes. If you haven't started at the beginning today and found alignment with who you are today, you have put yourselves in a very nice position because you've come to an environment where all factors are conducive to alignment. And it is our desire, it has always been Jerry and Esther's desire, that you take away from these experiences knowledge of how life is supposed to be for you, so that you stand in expectation of brilliance, expectation of clarity, expectation of solutions, expectation of delight, expectations of expansion, expectations of fun, expectations of, and this is the answer to your question, more. Expectations of more, 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 more. Eternal beings you are. You must get comfortable with the moreness of your eternity. And you must not cling to the sameness of what is. Because the sameness of what is the resistance to the more of eternity. Yeah. That was quite good. Enough?
Thank you.